Welcome back. We're starting our new season here tonight with a very fun guest of ours, Stephen Lawson from Rochester, Minnesota. Ray, yeah, all right.
Yay! Actually, I'm from Duluth.
Yeah, from Duluth. Yeah, via Toledo, you were saying, and a couple of places.
I've been all over.
We'll hear all about it tonight, but we're really excited to hear from him. He has a very interesting story of some things he's experienced in his life, and some of the things he's overcome and gone through and experienced that I'm sure people at home can relate to. And also, he's going to share some of the awesome things that God has done coming out of that situation, including musically, artistically, a lot of things going on here. So make sure you stick with us this entire interview because there's a lot that we're packing into this. So, Stephen, thanks for being here. Uh, we obviously know you from church. I had the pleasure of meeting you there, and we heard a little bit about your background and your story, and we've seen this awesome story continue over the last couple of years here, obviously. So, and just like anyone's testimony or story, it's an ongoing thing. It never ends. It's just more what's God doing now, I think. Mm-hmm. And you're a prime example of that, I think. So, we have a lot of people on the show that they have experiences with God, and it's really incredible because even though people have gone through maybe some similar issues or dilemmas or problems or whatever, everyone's story is so unique in what God does in that situation or what they experience, And that's what I love about it. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from you here. You want to tell the people a little bit at home about yourself, or where would you like to start?
Well, first of all, this is a really cool, weird.
Okay.
I really like it.
This is cool, weird. That's all good. That's good.
Yeah. No. Yeah. We were laughing before we started this, but I've been sober for. I'm going on 3 years sober from alcohol and drugs, and mostly alcohol. But um. What was the question again? No.
Yeah.
No. Uh, my I get off on tangents.
No, that's good. We like tangents. Those are the fun things. So I mean, you went through a lot of stuff in your life, I know, and you were kind of mentioning, God's really been doing some stuff lately, and maybe I should start by telling people about some of that stuff, and then we can kind of relate it back to some stuff that you. Obviously, so
basically, in the last 3 years, I have done more in the last 3 years, I think, than I have in pretty much 40 years of my life. Um, I've been in a situation where I live at a place called Doc's Recovery House, which is on the campus in Rochester, where I met you guys. Yeah. And it's not a house; it's the Crossroads Christian College that was turned into housing, and so it's all the old dorms. There's actual housing there. The church is there. The church owns the whole campus. Anyway,
yeah,
it's a long story. They're all like single rooms, but what Docs does is they help guys get into treatment, and then once you come out of treatment, you have the option, if there's rooms available, to come back there and rebuild your life from there. And anyway, so I chose to stay there. I, in the last 3 years, I've done things that I never thought that I would could do, because I just couldn't stay sober long enough to figure out how to do it. And so I've learned how to. Technology always freaked me out. I've learned, how to mix and master professionally. I took courses online. I was able to figure things out by asking and researching. And the one thing, that God had gave me, when I was sober, I was always I have a lot of energy, as you probably know. That he gave me. I have the ability to somehow plow through fears, when I'm sober, by reaching out and asking for help, or doing research. And the longer that I've continued on a daily basis to do, the next right thing, it just, God keeps shining a light as far as I can see in front of me, and I don't always have the answers, so I'm walking in faith. And a lot of times we were talking about it where it's like sometimes when I lose focus of not knowing which direction I should be going or whatever, and I have to reel myself self back into the moment, and just do whatever is in front of me. Um, because the thing was is when I look back at like 40 years of my addiction, I, he kept me alive through all that. There was many times, I'm not going to get into it, that I technically should have been dead, could have been dead. Um, and so, uh, but other than the music thing, I dove into that. I dove into um, artwork. I mean, so as a young, I'm going to go off on a tangent here.
That's okay.
So anyway,
Like,
go ahead. Yeah, no, yeah, because I've done so much that it's really hard for me to kind of.
yeah.
The thing is when I was, I'm 59 years old. I'll be 60 in October. And I've always had a lot of energy. I've always been into fitness. I still am. Um, but as a boy, when I was growing up, um, I started realizing that I had like a natural ability for drawing. And then as I got older, I was always interested in music, and I used to go through my dad's and mom's albums as a kid, and just you know classic rock stuff and everything. This is in the 70s.
Yeah.
And I started playing guitar I was when I heard Eddie Van Halen, I was like,
Yeah.
so 70.
Try that.
Yeah, a lot of people did that. And I just, but I've gone back to, I'm a rocker, and I love just all kinds of music though. But I, when I started playing guitar and drawing at about 14, all of a sudden those gifts, they started, I guess, started getting a lot better at them really fast. And I remember, I didn't grow up in the churches. My mom, I think she brought me to church a few times. My brother, I have a younger brother. I have one younger brother who I love and miss. His name is Josh, and I'm going to see him and my mom. Bought a plane ticket. I'm going to go out to New Hampshire,
Okay.
and yeah, they're right on the ocean, Kittery,
That's
Maine,
awesome. Yeah.
and Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
So they're 5 miles. They're on the border.
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
But so, yeah, I just get my younger brother. But through my addiction, I didn't realize how much I was hurting people in my life. I was a binge drinker. I was involved in church my entire life, even through my addiction. But what happened was, as I started realizing that I had these abilities, I can remember sitting and figuring out like my albums, like all of us guitar players did before any kind of internet stuff. We'd put the needle on and drag it back, and I learned, my mom taught me how to tune a guitar.
One
And
at
so
a time.
yeah, but then I remember just like learning things, and remember pondering. I always pondered about like how in the world is it that this just I can just do this and say,
That's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And I bet there are people at home actually
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now that are like, you know what? I have these giftings
Yep.
in my life. And it's so interesting because the world will never tell you God put this in you or created you
Right.
for this. And the world a lot of time will try and, you know, shut those things down sometimes or kind of make you think they're not that important or you're
Right.
not that special or you're not that good or whatever. When God's like, no, I put this in you. And it seems like there's probably a lot of times, an aha moment where
Yeah.
a person will go, wait a minute, this is actually something special. Despite what my whole life circumstances said,
Yeah.
this is something that God put in me,
Yeah.
and it needs to come up.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And it's interesting too, like when a person's got a gifting that God gives them, and you try and keep it inside, it I've heard this from a number of people, and I've experienced this too, I guess. It almost makes you anxious
Yep.
or something like this has to get out, or I don't feel right. I feel sad or something,
Yep.
And like it needs to come out of me, like pour out of me somehow.
Yeah.
And I've encountered this with different people with different
Yeah.
giftings, and it's my feeling that that's probably the same thing here.
Exactly.
It's interesting that you said at a young age, even you were already seeing this happen,
Yeah.
but you weren't realizing this is a God thing. Like you were going to church even. Well, I mean, or you at least knew who Jesus was.
That was what I was going to say was I remember thinking that there's got to be a God. Was in a band with friends through high school. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Up in Duluth, and this was the early '80s. We had a good chemistry. Individually, we were good, but together we had this chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we became pretty popular in the town, and we just had fun. And as we got older, I was about 19 or 20. I had dropped out of high school twice because I was not interested anymore. I was good in school till that, but
were you already drinking or doing?
Yeah, but I was, I started smoking pot, and then I drink like on the weekends mostly, but I didn't ever think that I had a problem with it because I just thought this is what everybody does. And it was just, I would do it, but I could go like days or throughout the week without like thinking about it really so much. I would think about, look, the weekend's coming, but that obviously changed.
Yeah.
But so what I was going to get at though is when, so I dropped out. I went back to high school in 1984, living with my dad. He talked me into that. I'm not going to get into the story, but it was good though. It was awesome. So I moved back with him and for a year, and then ended up coming back up. I never graduated. I got my GED like the year after. But I thought I was going to be a rock star.
Yeah.
And he let me. My dad. I know my dad loves me because he didn't. I just know he loves me, but he never tried to make me do anything. He let me make my own choice. But he always was there for me, and always he was always there, like financially support, and just he was a really good father. And I've been able to slowly, reconnect with him and my brother over the last 3 years. But anyways, what I was going to say is that I moved back to Duluth in '85 or whatever. Yeah, '85. I was partying a lot and stuff like that, but still, I didn't really feel like I was out of control. But and I had a lot of hair back then. I shave it so I don't play with it. Basically, I just have the strap on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I remember I had rejoined the band, same guys, different singers and stuff like that. I think, but same core guys, and we were older, but we started that chemistry was there. And I remember one day we started playing teen clubs. We had all these teen clubs and we were popular, and and I was just like, I can remember at 19 thinking, got the girls, got the this and that. I got a job as an apprentice, learning how to refret guitars and as a luthier. So that's what I did most of my life. Work on instruments. But I remember thinking that there was something more to my life.
Even has the situation.
I
probably looked at you like, got the life.
I never told anybody that, but I remember where I was living, and I remember thinking in my heart, thinking, there's gotta be something. Something felt off. And then one day, not too long after that, the bass player called me up and he said, "Hey man," he had a really deep voice, and he's like, "You gotta come over and check out this new band called Striper." And
Striper.
And
okay, look them up.
Who is Striper?
Michael Sweat.
Michael Sweet, the Sweet brothers. Michael.
Oh my gosh!
I bowled.
Tara knows them.
I bowled with them 2 years in a row. I have a friend that I can get. See, I could talk for hours about stuff.
I know someone who got saved from because he was a rocker, and he got saved from their music.
That's where I was just heading with my mom. See what happened here. Check this out. Okay, so I went over to my bass player's house, and he told me first of all that he got saved, his friend, and I was like thinking, oh. I had been drinking. I was, paused. I had been drinking beer. I was 19, and I remember. And then he goes, "You gotta check out this band." And he gave me the Striper albums, "Soldiers Under Command," and I listened to it. And music-wise, you gotta remember this is '85, so there's bands that there was some good music, rock, like there was like, you know, Dokken, there was Rat, there was Van Halen and Motley Crue, all those guys.
Hair band.
Yeah, but it was like at the beginning before the real hair stuff.
Right, yeah.
But it was still good, really good
Yeah,
writing,
yeah.
right, musically. But when I had listened to those guys, I was like, you gotta be kidding me, because musically, the guitars and the writing and everything, I thought these guys are even better than any of these other guys in the And what happened was Gary, and they were wearing yellow and black, all stripes like bumblebees.
Oh,
But they looked cool, but I was like, they looked like girls, but they look cool. But
Because I was cool.
that was the thing back then. But I remember he was read the words, and I started reading the words, and I just went, I'm even gonna get choked up right now, because when I started reading the lyrics, it pierced me to the heart. In that moment, with the music and the lyrics, the way they looked, I realized what was missing in my life. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You mean you can look like that? You can play music like that and still be, still believe in God, be a Christian or whatever. And I just, that was the beginning of it, right? So shortly after that, I became a Christian, I accepted Christ. And I remember also thinking that I did not want to. I was like, I knew it was the truth. Nobody had to convince me. I just felt this was it, because it was in my heart. But at the same time, I remember thinking, oh, I gotta change everything. I don't want to be like those people I see.
battle begins, yeah, between your flesh and
So our whole band got saved.
wow,
We put our instruments down.
that's awesome.
About 6 months,
Huh.
and we ended up studying the Word, started going to church. And this whole time, I did not want to do any of it, but I knew I should. I just knew it was.
There's something deeper that was
Yes, and it just, and
Yeah.
the thing is, to this day, I still wrestle with it, and I'm not gonna lie, and I'll explain why if you ask me. But I've explained it to people.
I think every Christian does though.
It's
like in a different way. It's personal for every
Yes.
person.
So anyway, we stayed together, and I somehow we ended up having a manager. We started playing churches and stuff around, and we started writing music, and God poured all these songs into me, and the singer wrote lyrics, and we were just poured out. I don't know. We had like about an album's worth of music that just came, and it was kind of cheesy 80s metal stuff, but it was good.
Sure.
But, and then somehow the bass player Gary Rudasovich, saying his name, he's an awesome. I miss him. He got contacts. He should be managing bands if he's not right now, but he got contacts with Striper's manager somehow. And when they came to Minneapolis, they ended up being like one of the biggest bands on the secular market and on MTV for a couple of years.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Yeah,
it's pretty mainstream.
There's now. I mean, we're getting old, so it's like a lot of people don't know who they were.
Yeah, what's MTV?
They still tour. They still are just as good musically, I think. Just older, they still kind of look the same. But
Yeah.
So we bowled with them 2 years in a row at a private bowling alley.
That's interesting.
But long story short, we were so young, and we were struggling with all different things, and we ended up breaking up. And I never stopped believing all those years, but I started just over the years, my drinking ramped up. I started going from job to job. I was just living in fear my entire life. I've done so many things, but
Yeah.
so
So the band kind of went their separate ways, but
probably lost a bunch of people.
it's like there was a seed planted though. It
Yeah.
sounds like in that moment.
Mhm.
And that's so pivotal. And I think it's easy to overlook that too,
Yeah.
that there was something that changed in that moment.
Yeah.
And it was like these ripples were starting to happen from it, but you weren't seeing them maybe
No.
all at once. It was just like certain
It
changes
was just-
altered the course just enough where God could do something in that moment, and
It was just I always knew that I felt in my heart that I was supposed to do something, but it wasn't what I wanted to do, because I just wanted to play music and just do what I wanted to do, which was partying at the time. But
then you have the counterbalance of it feels like something's missing.
it,
And it's kind of, I don't want to sound cliche, but we've said this before when other people have kind of described the same thing. It's that God-shaped hole,
Yeah,
that's in you.
that's exactly.
We're created for relationship with God.
Mhm.
And when you're not in relationship with God, you can feel it
Yeah.
because there is a piece of you missing. I mean,
Yeah.
God's meant to be a part of your life, be one with you,
Yeah.
and when that's not happening, man, you feel it. And it's tough to describe
Yeah.
because the world tells you, what do you mean? You've got everything you want.
Yeah.
What more could you want? Or whatever. And that's why you see so many rich and famous people nosedive and
Yep.
self-destruct and be miserable. And
Yeah.
it's because they're missing that thing, and but the interesting thing is with God, he wants you to have both. I mean, it is possible to have both. And you saw that
Yeah.
kind of convergence with Striper, I think, in that moment.
Yeah.
There was an aha moment like, I can have both of these things.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to destroy me.
They ended up kind of going like this too.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I think that's normal too, where it ebbs and flows a little bit.
What I found out, where I'm at now, what my struggle was is I believe it to be true, right?
Yeah.
The word, but the thing was is I always viewed what bothered me was what bothered me is what I saw in like the church and Christianity on TV, which it just seemed fake.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't seem real. Why don't you just be yourself?
Right.
And I'm not saying be yourself and go around being, not a good person.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, can we just be real about God?
Just,
like you don't have to put on
I just
for me.
So it's just
Yeah.
I still get hung up on it sometimes. But here's the thing: is I found and most it really is highlighted now that I've been sober for.
Well, not great sometimes.
I was getting so hung up on.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because so many people who don't believe in God or struggle with the whole thing, they don't want anything to do with it because of what they see, the hypocrisy or just what they see that turns them off.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. I struggled with the same thing, honestly. I mean, I've shared that on here too. I went through a whole season where I was like, I want nothing to do with the church. These people are horrible, and they're pretending. They don't. I mean, they're just there so they can check the box that says they went to church on Sunday. That was the feeling I felt. The rest of the week, they're horrible to me or my family or people I know or whatever. I know them in the community or whatever, and that really caused my faith to waver. I mean, as in my 20s, and so it's there we go. Technological.
It gets tiresome. It almost gets to the point where it's like, I just you go do your church thing, and I'm just gonna just go off and do my thing. It's just tiresome.
But this was something even Jesus railed against in the Bible.
Exactly.
I mean, there were people putting on shows on the Pharisees,
show.
the Sadducees, false prophets.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a circus back then. That's what people
Exactly.
putting on appearances, to gain popularity, or they gain from it somehow, in the society.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I don't. And so it's something Jesus didn't like either.
That's
exact. But it's also interesting because he had a way of cutting through this stuff too, like the weird definitions we put on ourselves or other people, or how we view ourselves. That's way below how God views us, or how we view just people sitting next to us. Like he hang out with the sinners, the tax collectors, all those people, because he could see who God created them to be. Who they really were. And the gold that was in them that the whole world couldn't see. And the thing with churches, I think, and you can let me know your thoughts on this too, is there's always going to be the human element. It's always going to be imperfect. We're not gods. God's perfect. We love that about God. We seek after that, but we're still human in the end, and we're going to screw it up, and we still have to live in this world that's constantly bombarding us with ways to act and think and speak and everything. And I think that's where grace really comes in. And that was tough for me to learn that because I put a really strict standard on people, like you have to check these boxes or I'm tossing you, I don't have time for this, or whatever. And it's so tough. I think once you get to the point where you can start seeing people kind of like Jesus does, like you're not perfect and that's okay. God loves you and you've got this gold in you and I know you do. and you need to know it, it changes the way you kind of view things. And that grace, I think, makes it easier to, you know, uh, to see that there's value in this church, even though it's not perfect or whatever. And
What's
yeah,
what's so weird is like I just the way I think is like and saying like believing in Jesus the Savior and this and that and believing that Jesus is God and God is God and the Holy Spirit is God. I don't struggle with it. I never had because it's like so you read the Bible, you got the Old Covenant, you got the New Covenant. Over this huge period of time, we're between two ferns, just like that. Okay. So anyway, but the thing, this is just my hippie weird brain thinking, is the creative part of me is where I've never struggled with like people, the people who would wanted to put Christ to death because he claimed to be God, and how could people? And it's just like, well, why is that so hard to believe? We're all here. God created everything that we see, right? We all have our own individual, unique spirits and souls, and so why is it so weird to think that maybe God came in himself and we're not supposed to understand how or why it all works, but somehow
because you won't
yeah.
know everything. But
And somehow it was revealed to all these prophets and people of what God wanted us to have as a way of living, right? And so it's like I've just never, Jesus doing all these miracles and this and that. I don't know why that's so hard to fathom because when I walk outside, when I see lightning, when I think of, to me, like energy, electricity, everything is all God. And that sounds weird, but when you think
I know what you're saying. Yeah,
the sun,
that's God. God's reflected in all.
what's up with the sun, man? How does that work into all this light?
It's part of his fingerprint,
It's just it's so cool to me as a creative being where
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the sun and how everything orbits around it, and then how electricity goes through everything, and he gives us the ability to figure out everything. And how does all these signals go to all these things, and then how we struggle with, oh, maybe God's in this person. Oh no!
I know, and it's
Like,
oh my goodness.
when I look at
I
a tornado
know.
or lightning, that's a miracle to me.
Yeah.
So I've never struggled with that.
Yeah,
That
it's more the application phase, I think, that I struggle with, and you too. Like, okay, I know all this about God is true. I believe it. I know God is real.
Yeah.
But then I see the application phase through people, in this world.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, fail. This is not great. And I don't want anything to do with that application phase. And you distance yourself because you feel hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, and that can be very real and damaging. I mean, sometimes how people act towards you, and a lot of them are Christians sometimes.
Yeah, but it's like I was saying, is like that. I experience that. I experience that wherever I go, like at my work or this or that. With that stuff, where it's like, back, get away from me. But then, um, uh, to me, like, so I go to church because it's for me. I don't go to church to worship. Yes, I'm worshiping, but I go there for the community. And to me, what I've seen, it's just the church. We get focused where it turns into like our own inward kind of a club thing, and it just grows into this thing. And I may be judging, but I'm just saying I've seen that my whole life where it's really hard to kind of keep. To me, I just this is the church. The world, people I encounter on a daily basis. I'm blessed right now, part time working at Costco and food samples.
Get to see people.
It's very
interactive.
It keeps me humble right
Yeah.
now. But the thing is I get to share my story, my faith, meet people all day
That's
long.
awesome. I think that's honestly how it was meant to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to, iron sharpens iron and all
Yeah.
that. We're supposed to have community in the church, but it was never meant to just stay in the building or just be
No.
one day a week and then you go and act how you want.
No.
That was never supposed to be the way it was. But
No.
but even I know Christians who've been Christians their whole life that they struggle with that too. Like,
Yeah.
how do I actually get from what's going on a Sunday to actually going and talking to people in Costco or wherever.
It's hard.
It's something you learn. It's a learning process too.
Because I struggle every day with worrying about what people think about me.
Yeah.
And then just take a stand for my opinion of my faith. I don't want to turn anybody off because I don't like confrontation. I don't like conflict. I just want everybody to be happy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and so I've struggled with that and I've tried. And I don't like going around trying to preach or trying to convert people. I would rather just be a light on a hill for people to see by my actions. And usually what happens is people start a conversation with me because they feel something, and then I can just kind of share what's going on.
Right.
And I think that's what Jesus did.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And each person did it differently too. I mean, each of the disciples kind of had their own experiences and their own ways of impacting the world, honestly.
Yeah.
They didn't all go and preach the same message. They all had their experiences that went into the letters that they wrote and the churches they visited and where they traveled and how their lives went, how they died, some of them. I mean, it's so personal, you know.
It is.
And that's why I don't think we should ever put people into boxes like
No.
how you're supposed to go out into the world and impact them. It might be through music. It might be through art.
Yeah.
It might just be talking to someone at Costco, you know, and that's what's really unique because your way of doing things will be totally different from mine. And
Do you mind if I share these?
yeah, so we've mentioned we've mentioned
No, I brought just some examples of some of the. This is Bob Dylan, and yes, he's smoking a cigarette. It was a picture from It was a picture from the '60s, I believe. But this colored pencil. I do mostly just graphite stuff, all different sizes. And 4 years ago, I started doing a lot more, just word of mouth by
see it here too really well. So
But
that's all I had.
That's
pretty good.
I went many years with barely doing anything like that. So I mean, I started being, and I didn't have any good pencil drawings to bring, but I have online.
These look great.
It's a little. That's a dragonfly. That I took the photo actually, and then I saved. I did it when I was in one of my treatments. I've been through like over 20 something treatment in Teen Challenge 3 times. And this is over 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And then this one I took off my wall today because it meant, and I'm sorry, Josh, you're not in here because you weren't born yet, but this was a picture my mom sent me. It's my mom and dad and me from 1969.
Like your parents.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I like the picture of my face. That's what I did.
Yeah, the face is like I don't want.
Yeah, I used to be a blonde. Which explains a lot.
That's awesome.
But no, anyway, so I brought those to show that was what was in me.
So
And
let's see what he's talking about here. Yeah, incredible. Share your gifts. Share your gifts.
So
it's awesome. Bring beauty.
And I go through weird phases because right now I've been focusing more on the music thing. I'm going to be starting a YouTube channel. I already started the channel. I haven't posted any videos on there yet because everybody's been debating with me about that. You just got to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
the tough part. Yeah.
But here's the thing: is I started one just to prove that I could do it and learn how to do it, and it was great. But I just vomitedly started without any thought. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't research the groundwork. I didn't do foundational stuff.
Yeah.
It is wise to have a plan. It is wise to do some research. As long as you're doing something, I've been creating recordings and videos and a plan and research so that I have like a catalog. The channel's already set up. I don't have any problem doing it.
Yeah.
But what I want to be able to do is start feeding videos. It's going to be music, entertainment, whatever I do.
Art.
It's just
God's put let the gifts flow, man.
And then I can share.
I wish everyone would do that. Wouldn't that be awesome if everyone just got that prompting to just let's get this stuff out there.
So I've been focusing on that. I haven't done any drawings probably for a couple months, but I'm starting to itch because I kind of hyper focus on one area at a time.
Yeah.
And I've been making just a ton of backing tracks. I'm playing. This is another segue.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm playing. So I'm at Doc's Recovery House in Rochester, and we're doing. This is a recovery rendezvous. I don't know. There's a little. Can you see that, or does it show up on the? we're having, July 18th this year. It's awesome. I've gone the last 2 years in Lanesboro, which is what, 15 miles under?
Not even that. And it's
It's
in
11 minutes.
11 minutes, but you can go to their website too. These guys, God brought me here. He brought a lot of us here, which is where I met these guys, on the campus. But I can't even put it into words. When I came to that campus, I chose to stay there, and I've seen many guys rebuild their lives. And I've seen people come and go, go back and forth. But I got to a point. I'm going off on a tangent, but before
before we go.
yeah, there's music there. I'm going to be playing a set here with you. There's another guy who's local from here, Paul Schmidt.
Yep.
And he's an awesome musician. I kind of got to know him a little bit. For the last 2 years, I've seen him play there, but he asked me to help with a set this year, so I'm going to do that. Then in the fall, I'm going to be playing for a couple hours at Recovery's Happening 5K at Silver Lake, and that'll be like the first week of September.
It's really interesting to see what God's doing. I mean,
Yeah.
like it's like he's opening doors,
Yeah.
really, and saying it's okay to walk through now. You know, like now is the time. Now I'm going to grow you, even more. Like the last 3 years have been great, but wait for the next 3 years. It's going to be even better. And I'm just going to read some of the information off of this for people who are interested. So this is Saturday, July 18th, 2026. It's the Recovery Rendezvous 2026. Food, fellowship, and fun. It's motorcycle friendly. It says celebrate recovery and enjoy an afternoon of great food, live music, silent auction, a cornhole tournament. Hey, those are awesome, and fun. Join us to support a great cause with the recovery community at a family-friendly event. So you don't have to be in recovery.
No.
You can just be a person who supports this program, Doc's Recovery House, or people in general who've gone through the recovery process. So join them to support a great cause with the recovery community at a family-friendly event. For more info, call Doc's Recovery House at 507-216-3353. That's going to be at Sylvan Park in Lanesboro, Minnesota. You can't miss it. If you go down there past the dam, and it's right off to the side there, across the street from there. And it's from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. So get it on your calendar now. This is an awesome thing for anyone to attend. And of course, Stephen will be there. You can hear some of his music live.
Maybe.
So that was Saturday, July 18th,
I
2026.
have found it on Facebook.
It's on Facebook.
I will share it.
Terrible share on there too.
I just
right now.
Those guys are just wonderful there. I mean, God is all through that whole place.
See, this is what kind of brings this full circle for me is, you had that realization back in the day. I've got this gift. It makes me feel good to be musical. That's one of my gifts. So to get that out there, but you had that realization that, okay, Christianity and this gifting can converge, but how do I do that? And it's interesting that God's giving you opportunities to experience that. This is an experience like that right there, right? This is a positive thing that God's doing.
This right here.
Yeah, this right here. Yeah, this is another example. And by the way, you should actually look for a posting that we're going to be posting of Stephen doing some music. So that'll be coming in the next week or so. We're working on that right now.
Oh, man. Yeah. So I'm mostly a guitar. I sing too, but I'm a guitar player. I can sing pretty good, but your voice is a muscle. You need to exercise it. And so I was upstairs doing the technology nerd thing, and I recorded some stuff and was having problems with some of the technical stuff on the and so my voice was starting to give out. I'm singing the backing tracks of the songs that I wrote, but there's tracks of me. I'm playing all the guitars and the instruments except for the drums, which are AI drums.
Yeah,
but so. So I'm gonna give these guys.
So we're gonna polish it up.
Yeah, I
created. Now we're
need to work on that. See if I can fix the audio to where it's right now. It's only basically on one side.
Yeah.
It's not stereo.
And
mono.
I think
Not mono.
it's good to really polish these things and put your best product out.
I just wanted to sound. Good. It's you only hear it half of one speaker. It'll drive you nuts if it'll me nuts.
Got I think that's awesome, and so watch for that. We'll be posting that at some point in the future here. So, but it's been really awesome to hear about this. I mean, so you were you kind of gave the background a little bit without going into too many details. You know, obviously, when a person's going through addiction and stuff, it gets messy. I mean, it is messy, messy, messy. And absolutely, I loved when you said that, you know, God kept me alive through that.
Yep.
I mean, you probably know people that did not live through it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most people who've gone through recovery know people who haven't come out the other side of that. And God's demonstrated very clearly in your life that you're meant to be here, you know, and you've got important gifts in you to impact this world. And he's starting to open these doors, you know.
Yeah.
I think the beautiful thing with God is he didn't just, you know, throw you into it. He's like, this can take 3 years to just get to the point where you're like ready to go through that door.
Well,
So it's been like a preparation phase almost, it seems.
ironically, I live in a dorm, so I joke about it all the time. Where it used to be in college, I've looked at it as I'm in college.
Yeah.
Life,
A
recovery.
place of higher learning.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we're all of us guys there have different things going on. Some have kids. I don't have any kids. I'm not married. I really,
Yeah, that's a whole other.
I have a whole.
Yeah.
That's why I dove into the giftings thing for the last 3 years, just to work on my recovery community, me finding out who I am,
Yeah.
accepting me for who I am,
Right.
accepting my
With all the
my
imperfections.
struggles,
Doesn't
with
have
all
to be
the
perfect.
imperfections,
Right. Yep.
and it's so cool how all that kind of you start getting a piece about it when you're transparent and honest and talk to people, to talk to your brothers in recovery.
And they're talking to you transparently too.
Yes.
You know, which is another thing you looked for, you know.
Well, so
Kind of a prayer answered in a way.
the reason I never, this is my opinion, what I believe. People ask, well, what's different now? And I'm like, well, first of all, everything. And then the second thing, the main thing is I can't tell you exactly what happened, except I know it was a God thing, but I wasn't ready. When I look back, for whatever reason, it took me so long. I don't know, and I'm not proud of people who tried to help me over 40 years. I was basically couch surfing since I was 18, and my parents tried helping me, my brother, everybody just, they tried and tried, friends, and they were just like baffled. Why is this guy who has all these things that he can do, why is he going back to this stuff, the vomit? But I couldn't see it the same because my addiction was just, I was, even when I was sober, I was not, I was still sick and I was miserable. I mean, I'd be sober for, even through Teen Challenge, I don't want to say I was sick, but what happened, I never had a plan. I never wanted anything to do with being in a recovery community or even really so much the church, or maybe while I was in Teen Challenge. But the thing was, is I just wanted to just get better and then just be on my way. And that was 40 years of that. And I had to get to a point where I was so absolutely disgusted. I didn't want to die, but I just was willing to listen a little bit, to try something that somebody was suggesting that I thought was absolute rubbish. And because I knew better. And the thing was,
we all know better.
I still struggle with that. But I'm just saying, what happened was I started doing some stuff on autopilot, with just saying people to do this, to go to this, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I started noticing my heart changing after I was sober this last time for maybe 3 or 4 months. I was kind of really in the fog, and I don't know. It was just,
you know what it reminds me of? You know, Paul, Saul from the Bible, right?
Exactly.
And you know how he had those scales literally fall from his eyes?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's almost like that moment happened, you know, where
Yeah.
he didn't take the scales off of his eyes. You know, God set up a person to come to him to pray, and the scales fell off of his eyes. It's the same thing here.
Yeah.
God lined up certain things to happen at exactly the right time. So you could have the realization at exactly the right time. It's important.
It is. It's funny because I, as I look back on my life, there was There might have been other opportunities. There probably was,
Oh,
but
yeah.
maybe not. Maybe.
Yeah.
But the thing was, is I chose a different path, and then kept going around in circles, and then he kept me alive through. I don't. I'm not even gonna get into the stuff that happened, like the hospitals and being abducted and the things that happened to me where I should be dead is what I'm trying to say. And so I was very physically sick, sleeping outside and in the hospital with withdrawals many, many times. But I, 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 what was I just saying? No. Oh yeah, yeah.
Went through some rough times.
No. I guess what I kind of want to end with for now is just the only what I realize is I don't know. The longer I'm sober and walking with God and where I feel a healthy relationship, I'm more at peace with just being myself, but I need to be every day connected with God, with people. I need to be transparent every single day to keep my brain. Addiction is a disease, not just spiritually. It's a disease of the brain where your thinking is broke, and meaning it was the disease that tells you don't have a disease, and it's like everybody's that's a cliche, but I can feel that in me the longer I'm sober. It's still there, meaning I have to. It's like having to take a medicine every day. I have to do something, whether it's a meeting, whether it's talking to people, listening to people, sharing. I have to do something to keep my brain centered. All of us guys that I always thought maybe I just need church. And I tried that and it didn't work. For me, it didn't work. I know other people that are successful with it, which is fine. But I just went, I took church and then
Because
I
God
left.
created you for more than that.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
To help people.
You're very unique. Exactly. You're supposed to impact this world in a positive
Do
way with your gifts.
Yeah.
And bless people.
it's just, to be honest with you, I'm an entertainer. No, I mean that's kind of what I feel like. I've always felt
Yeah.
like, even though I have a hard time sometimes talking, like uh, in public, just from the heart, because I get scrambled up, as you probably see. But
You've done fine.
but I'm not like embarrassed. I get nervous and stuff, but I want to encourage people.
Yeah.
And at my age, I just I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how long I'm going to be on the earth, but all I can do is just
You know,
on, man.
I guarantee there are people who will be watching this, or people who are watching this that know people who've been in a cycle of this addiction you were
Yeah.
talking about. I'd go to recovery just to feel better, then go back into it, and it was just like a cycle repeating. And I guarantee there are people watching right now that know people that have been in this for 40 years.
Yeah.
And they've probably given up, thinking this will never happen. They're going to die this way. They're going to be this way until they die, and what you are is literally a shining light in the darkness for them. Like, God can do anything. After 40 years, those scales can fall from your eyes, and you might not even know how it happened. And I mean, I've said that too with me. Like, I don't know how I came out of that unbelief into belief. It was just a process. I described it as kind of a gentle washing process. Like, this grime just got washed off of me over time, and
I don't know why. I try not to think about it too much because
no, and I don't think we're meant to know.
I don't
Like, I think
know
there's so
why.
much going on. Like, we couldn't comprehend what God's doing.
Yeah, I don't know why all of
know?
a sudden I got it. What I got was that I don't got it. Meaning I
That's a big thing to realize.
yeah. Because I
Because we're supposed to know everything,
but as I look back, and I've shared this with other brothers in recovery, it's just like all the times I went into treatment basically was because I was homeless and jobless, and I couldn't make it to work because I was too sick.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got well, I was like, bye. And then this is the first time in my life I've actually stayed put and just continued to work on a way to turn my giftings from God into a way for. I don't care about being rich, but if I as I get older in my retirement, I'd be happy just if I could
It'd be
support
a fun
myself.
job to have. I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be the most fulfilling job.
Encouraging people. I just want to
Right.
encourage people
Yeah.
to find whatever it is that God put in you that you're good at. It doesn't have, I mean, it doesn't have to be this kind of stuff. It can be anything,
Mhm.
you know, anything. And so, and it's not easy for some guys, but
Yeah.
and it's different.
The Israelites wandered around the same mountain for 40 years.
I know, I knew that.
Are you finally now getting
Yes.
some promised land?
There's something in all these
Well,
numbers.
Crossing over, yeah.
But I just know that I never, I could see that I really truly inside never really wanted to quit drinking or using, and because I just wanted to figure out a way that I could somehow outsmart it. I knew it was ruining me,
Yeah.
but I could not
Yeah.
accept that somehow, there's God, I can.
Yeah.
Until now, anyway. It's just, I'm just so grateful, though. Very grateful.
And it's really awesome because you're at the beginning of the process still. I mean,
Yeah.
even after 3 years, you
Yeah.
know,
No, it's just,
I mean,
start.
I would love to see you at like 95, you know, rocking it out still, and still making art.
Right.
Yeah, whatever it is. I mean, you'll find a way to be creative. I'm sure even at 95.
There's some really good mentors there at Docs. You know, Steve Cottington. He's been sober, I think, like 35 years now. And Rick Utley, Tori Utley,
Yeah.
his daughter. They started the place.
Mhm.
I think it was like 9 years ago. But yeah, no.
And we should actually give them a shout out here too. I
Yeah.
mean, Doc's Recovery House. If you have a loved one that's going through, well, I mean, what you've discussed, right? I mean, get in touch with Doc's Recovery House. I think they
Yeah.
could set you up with some good support, community, Christ-centered, is my understanding. Where
Well,
you have the opportunity to.
they're
engage in
spiritual.
that, right?
But I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of Christians that work there and that just come in and out of there. But
Yeah.
when I went there, I immediately went to Bear Creek because Bear Creek Church
Oh, there's
is
a
just
church
right
on
down
that
the campus. So that's where I met you guys.
Yep.
I've played on worship band's guitar since 1995
Mm.
through my addiction.
Mhm.
So that was why I went